Hey, in this video we're going to be talking about how you can use habit to improve your speaking, reading, writing and listening. All of this in preparation for your IELTS exams and all preparing from home and for free. Hey guys, thank you for taking the time to click on this video. I am Simon from My IELTS Boost and today I'm going to give you 5 different tips to establish an English habit and importantly how to stick to it. Learning habits is so important in language learning, especially when preparing for an exam. I often say that if you prepare for the IELTS with a traditional IELTS preparation course, that will typically last for about 3 months and make up 30 hours of classroom time and usually cost several $100s. The beauty of habits is that if you take 20 minutes a day to do some extensive reading or listen to a podcast, for example, and you add that up over 3 months, you get to that same 30 hours of English practice, of new vocabulary, completely for free, and you established a new habit for life. So let's take a look at those 5 steps. Tip number 1, motivation. Why do you want this? I think everyone has their own reasons, but a common reason for everyone is by the time their exam day comes, they want to be the best at English they've ever been. I certainly did when I was preparing for my French exam, and I think I got there. It's important to have something ready for those difficult days when you want to give up on your habit, and for this, I think it's really good to have a particular phrase or sentence that you can say to yourself to motivate yourself. And this might be something like, well, if I give up today, then I'm giving up on being the best at English I've ever been. So, tip number 1, motivation. Tip number 2, make it 21 days. Now, to be honest, this number is arbitrary. It can take a variety of time periods to establish a new habit. But I think the most important thing is to know that you have a goal set to a specific date and that your habit doesn't even have to be forever, but you're giving it this 21 days to establish that habit. Tip number 3, remove barriers. What I mean by this is, well, let's do an example. So I'd like you to reach for your phone in your pocket, right? How many times do you think you've done that movement today? How easy is it to look at your phone? There's no barrier between your hand and your pocket. It's so easy to get in and get your phone out at any moment in the day. So the same thing should happen with your habit. It should be easy to access at the time you've dedicated to doing that habit. So I'll give you an example. About 2 years ago, I started an extensive reading habit, reading every day. But originally, I didn't have a bedside table. So what this meant was my book was already about 2 meters from my bed every day, and I'd forget about it. I'd get into bed, get cozy, get warm, and then there was no way I was going to get out of bed. So I had to go out and buy a bedside table. So remove barriers. Tip number 4, note it down. Note down your progress. So this can be as simple as doing a tally chart. So one more day of sticking to your habit of progress. Give it a tally and you'll soon see them build up over the days. And this can encourage you. It sounds silly, but just at the end of the day, putting a tally on your tally chart really does give you that little boost of dopamine, even though it sounds silly. But today, I committed to being the best at English I've ever been. Tip number 5, time. Choose a time at the day. It can be a specific time in the day, or it can be a period, that period between leaving work and getting home, or that period between eating and going to bed or doing the washing up, whatever it might be. But be consistent with this. Use the time as a cue to do your habit. So tip number 5, be consistent and choose a time. So my number 1 habit to establish this 2021 or any time before your IELTS exam is extensive reading. Extensive reading sounds more fancy than it is. It just means reading for fun. So reading whatever you're interested in, and don't just do it for study, but establish a habit where you do this for fun. Maybe if you don't know what books to read, you could try thinking of a film you like that you know was based on a book and try reading that book. The book should be challenging, not too challenging, but it's important to realise that you don't need to understand every word. And don't forget to note down that vocabulary. You don't need to write down every single new word. That would take forever. Just maybe 2 or maximum 3 new words a day. And the important thing is to record them. So I used to do it on a whiteboard. I'm sort of addicted to whiteboards, but something that a lot of students like, and I've also done in the past, and it worked great for me, were post-it notes. Those little sticky notes you get that you can stick to the wall. They're really good for this. The important thing is that it's visible, so that you're going to come into contact with these words just walking around your room or around your house. And give it 2 or 3 days a week just to revise some of that vocabulary, to try and remember, oh, what did I write down yesterday? Just to establish those new words in your mind so that you're ready for exam day. Okay, so you want to start an extensive reading habit, but you don't know what book to choose or where you can find those books. Well, stay tuned to this channel as I will soon be making a video about that topic. If you found value in this video, please give it a like and a share. And also, I'd like to know, well, have you already read a book in English? If so, leave down in the comments which book it was, and maybe that I'll talk about that book in my review of the best English books for learners. So take for an example a Band 6 student. A Band 6 student will generally know about 5,000 words or have 5,000 words in their passive vocabulary, and they'll be capable of using about 2,500 of those words. However, if you want to jump to that next Band 7, then you need to double your vocabulary. Extensive reading is a great tool for learning new vocabulary, but not just learning new vocabulary. It's even better than that. How are you going to revise those 2,500 or 5,000 words that you already know? You could make a very long list, but extensive reading, every day when you read, you'll see a word, maybe a word you learned 2 years ago, and you'll think, what does this mean? And then it will come to you. So it's a way of revising and practicing vocabulary that you've learned in the past, as well as learning new vocabulary. This will really help you out with your lexical resource in your IELTS exam and in your general English.